I semi-retired at age 42. When people hear the word retirement, they normally think of stopping work. That's not what happened to me. I actually still work. I still take on projects that interest me. I still want to learn a lot of things, create things, contribute, and do work that I think is useful. What changed was how much space I wanted work to occupy in my life. For many years, I thought that if I had the ability to do more, then I should really do more. More work, more responsibility, more achievements, more things accomplished in a day. I have always been quite career driven. I like difficult work. I like learning. I like becoming good at something. And then there's also this particular satisfaction that comes from solving a difficult problem and knowing that your work has been useful. I still like these things a lot. So summer retirement was not really a rejection of work. I simply stopped believing that because something is good, I should necessarily do as much of it as possible. Work can be meaningful, but family is meaningful too. Health matters. Friendships matter. Rest matters. Having time to think matters. Doing something simply because you enjoy doing it matters. So actually, the problem was not work. I just wanted work to become one important part of life instead of the structure around which almost everything else had to adjust. And I should say that, not everyone can semi retire early. Being able to reduce work is a privilege. There are people who work probably, who would love to work less but cannot afford it. There are people supporting children, parents, and extended families. There are people who simply need the income. So I don't think everybody should semi-retire at 42. That would be unrealistic. But I do think it is reasonable for all of us to occasionally ask whether the way we are working is still working for us. I had to separate also, productivity from my identity. And that was probably one of the more difficult parts because I was very workaholic. When you've spent many years working hard and achieving things, productivity can quietly become part of your identity. You become the person who gets things done, and being busy can actually feel good. You're needed. People are looking for you. There are deadlines, there are problems you can help solve. Then suddenly, you have a quiet Tuesday afternoon that feels weird sometimes. Nobody urgently needs anything from you. And strangely, that can take some getting used to. I had to learn that a day does not become valuable only because I produce something measurable during it. I could spend time with family, exercise, read, and I really love reading. So now I'm starting to build my own library. A lot of time to think, pray, take a walk, work on something that may not earn money, or simply just have an ordinary day. And that day still counts as part of a life well lived. Something else surprised me. Working less did not necessarily mean thinking less. Sometimes it was actually the opposite. When there are fewer meetings, fewer messages, sometimes I don't open my mobile phone at all. There's fewer deadlines and fewer things competing for attention. I can stay longer with a problem and think about it. I can read more. I can think before responding. I can change my mind. I can follow an idea simply because I find it interesting. And sometimes better work comes out of it. There's a kind of work where being fast is useful, but there's also work that requires you to sit with something for a while. Not every useful idea arrives between two meetings. So I've become much less impressed by busyness. Someone can have completely full calendar and still accomplish very little that actually matters. Someone else can spend 3 quiet hours thinking deeply about one problem and produce something genuinely useful. And they're both working, but they're not necessarily creating the same value. Before semi retirement, I think I treated many things as things I would do after work. Exercise if there was time, seeing people if schedules allowed, creative projects maybe on the weekend, rest after everything important was finished. The problem is that everything important is never finished. There will always be another email, another project, another opportunity, another problem, another thing you could improve. So eventually, I had to stop waiting for life to become less busy before giving these things proper space. I started treating health, relationships, creativity, faith, rest, and time with people I love as important parts of life in their own right. Not rewards for I you know after being productive enough. That changed quite a lot for me. We have fairly predictable ways of recognizing success: a promotion, a bigger salary, a successful business, a bigger house, more influence, more followers, a more impressive title. These things are easy to see. It is much harder to see that somebody has a peaceful home, or that they have enough time for their children or their spouse, or that they sleep well at night, or that they have friends they can call when life becomes difficult, or they can be available for friends and family members anytime, or that they are doing work they believe in, or that they have enough. Those things do not normally appear on a CV. Nobody gives you an award because you protected your relationships while building your career. This connects with something I think about quite a lot in my other work. Culture teaches us what to reward, and whatever we repeatedly reward, people eventually learn to pursue. So if we only celebrate wealth, status, visibility, and productivity, we should not be surprised when people begin organizing their lives around those things. Perhaps we need broader measures of what it means to be doing well in life. So, what should I say to people at different stages in life? Let me see. If you're in your 20s, I would still encourage you to work hard, learn, build skills, try things, make mistakes while you still have plenty of time to recover from them, and learn about money early. But don't neglect your health while building your future. Your body is also part of the future you are building. And if you are in your 30s, I would pay close attention to the life your success requires you to maintain. Sometimes our income increases and our lifestyle expands at exactly the same speed. Then suddenly, we cannot afford to slow down. Be careful about building a life that requires you to remain permanently exhausted just to sustain it. And if you are in your 40s, I think this is a very good time to reflect. Do I still want what I spent the last 20 years trying to get? Maybe the answer is yes, and that's very good. Keep going. But maybe some things have changed. You are allowed to change. And later in life, contribution does not have to disappear simply because career ambition becomes less important. Experience is useful, wisdom is useful, mentoring somebody is useful, being available to your family is useful, helping your community is useful. You don't have to have a job and a job title to remain valuable. Semi retiring at 42 did not make me stop caring about achievement. Not at all. I still enjoy accomplishing things. I still have goals, even bigger goals. There are still things I want to build. But I am much more interested now in what these achievements are building toward. Because productivity, it's a tool. Money is a tool. A career is a tool. Even success is a tool. They should help us build something. So perhaps The question is not simply how much can I accomplish with my life. Maybe another question is equally important. What kind of life am I trying to build with everything I accomplish? I'm still figuring out my own answer, and perhaps that answer will change again. But that is one thing semi retirement has given me more space to actually think about the question. Has your own definition of success changed as you have gotten older? Comment down below. And please also don't forget to hit that bell button to subscribe. Till next video.